The world is marking Mandela Day today. The 18th of July is the late statesman's birthday. Across the globe, people are encouraged to dedicate 67 minutes of their time to helping others less fortunate. The number symbolizes the number of years Nelson Mandela spent making the world a better place. In South Africa, President Jacob Zuma has urged all citizens to do something that will build national unity. Zuma has also congratulated all those who've launched various programs to commemorate the day. Mandela would have been 98 today. He died 3 years ago. Let's get you more on that now. I'm joined live from our Johannesburg studios by CCTV's Angelo Coppola. So, Angelo, the world marking Mandela Day today. Tell us about some of the events planned today in South Africa.
Well, we've been celebrating Mandela Month, in fact. It started on the 1st of July. And it's interesting, though, that South Africa hasn't declared this day a bank holiday just yet. It's probably going to happen quite soon, though. But it started last night officially with Bill Gates, the founder of Microsoft, delivering a memorial address to a packed audience at the University of Pretoria. And he was talking about living together. And he called on the audience to do everything within their power to build a future that Nelson Mandela dreamed of. The highlight event for today, though, is probably going to be that International AIDS Conference in Durban. There's some 12,000 delegates there, and the Deputy President, Ramaphosa, will deliver the opening address, where he'll be talking about access, equity, and rights. Government ministers, of course, and opposition party leaders are all out in full force doing their time, and the NGOs are out there running their own programs, mostly focused on doing something for those 67 minutes that are going to add value to their local communities. Everything from reading glasses for the elderly to food for the hungry. Schools, of course, across the country are also doing their bit, making sandwiches, cleaning underprivileged areas up, donating their time. But the day's events were tragically spoiled when we got news a little earlier that South African race car driver and former champion Gugu Zulu died on Kilimanjaro. He was climbing in aid of the Nelson Mandela Foundation and an initiative that they had called Track for Mandela. So our thoughts go out to his wife and family. Panina?
And Angela, Mandela Day comes just a few weeks ahead of local government elections. So are political parties expected to use this day to drum up support?
Panina, directly and indirectly, all the political parties have been calling on voters to vote for their party using Mandela's name. And that's because the problem here is that many ANC members and politicians are quick to chastise the opposition parties who use Mandela's name as part of their electioneering campaigns. They're saying that that Mandela belongs to the ANC. And this possessiveness is heightened as we get closer to these municipal elections that are coming up. But as you know, politicians being politicians, they'll call on any manner of support to solicit a vote. And today will be no exception, Panina.
And well, you know, Angela, we all know Mandela's legacy has continued to inspire millions, but South Africa has faced some difficult times of late, including protests ahead of these elections. Talk to us about that.
Well, it appears that these so-called service delivery protests increase as you get closer to an election in this country. And in fact, it's happened with every election since 1994. Voters are frustrated, and if the ANC is to be believed, it's because those communities that don't have all those basic services that they've been promised and are entitled to, they see them in their neighbours and then they get frustrated. The ANC, on the other hand, says it's doing its level best to assuage these voters who are protesting with promises. Just yesterday, for example, Deputy President Ramaphosa promised that any re-elected or newly elected ANC councillors would have to sign performance contracts to measure delivery against promises that are being made at the moment. Meanwhile, school kids in Vuani aren't returning to school today. People in the area burnt many of those schools to the ground in protest action just several weeks ago. Panina?
And finally, Angela, just a very quick one. What will you do with your 67 minutes?
I'm giving back to an old age home opposite my daughter's school, where we'll be going and sharing sandwiches and just getting involved with them and making them feel a bit of our love.
And that's amazing, Angela. Thanks very much and have a good one. Oh, that's Angela Coppola, live for us in Johannesburg.